What's going on with the Los Angeles real estate market for June 2023? Today, we're going to discuss it. So what's actually happening in the real estate market in Los Angeles here in June 2023? Well, I think to really go into detail about that, you kind of have to look backwards in the rearview mirror just for a minute to recap what happened in 2022. So in 2022, unless you're living under a rock, everybody knows that the interest rates more than doubled. In fact, up until the fall, we were at one point looking in the 7% interest rate range. So obviously that had a huge effect on the real estate market. Most neighborhoods in LA County saw a decrease in price of about 15%, and rightfully so. If you go from 3.25% to almost 7%, that was going to happen. But then in December, things started to shift, and even though the rates had not really come down a lot, still in the high sixes, what you saw happening was that the buyers realized that the market wasn't going to crash, and as a result of that, all the inventory got eaten up, and now we just have a huge shortage of inventory. So at the beginning of the year, the interest rates dropped at one point in the high fives for about 2 weeks, and then we saw them in April and May, the rates actually jump up into the sevens before the debt ceiling issue was resolved here in this country. And while the rates have subsided, they haven't come down like we've hoped. I kind of anticipate that to happen later this year as inflation actually starts to come down, as the numbers indicate about that. So what's actually going on as far as inventory goes? Well, let's start with inventory. So inventory right now, you saw back in November of last year, because all those properties were sitting in LA County since then, almost 50% less on the market than there was back in November of 2022. Now you fast forward to early spring, let's just take 91326 zip code. In November of last year, you had 84 properties on the market. And for a good portion of March, April, and May, you are hovering in the mid-30s when it comes to amount of properties available for sale. Now, right now, just because of where we are seasonally, we've seen a lot of sellers put their house on the market. So we went from 38 to 54. Now, it's not a huge jump, but there is a little more inventory on the market. And you're seeing that play out all over LA County as the sellers realize that it's still quite the seller's market because the inventory is so incredibly low. So despite the high interest rates, a lot of people are saying, well, how is the market actually going up in price if the fact that the interest rates are so incredibly high right now? Well, you also have to consider the fact of what people are actually paying for a home right now to actually rent. Just a one-bedroom apartment in LA County, a one-bedroom apartment rents for $2,400 a month right now. That's the average median price for a one-bedroom apartment in LA County. So when you're looking at most house rentals for $4,000 or $5,000 a month, buyers right now, they would rather buy than rent when they see actually the prices right now for to actually rent a property. So that's something that you have to consider. Then you throw in, again, going back to inventory, that anybody who has a sub-4 interest rate is just not selling right now. So the people that are selling are those that are not tied to the interest rate, that have some type of life event that's actually gone on right now. So those are the people. So the fact that you have way more demand, very little supply, and I don't foresee that changing anytime in the near future. So as a result of that, you're seeing a lot of multiple offers still on a majority of the listings. Now, going back to 91326 zip code, something else that's really interesting, you have 54 properties for sale currently right now. of the 54, only 19 of them are under 1.5. So the properties that are listed under 1.5, those are the ones that are really kind of flying off the shelf because that's where all the buyers are. So we just had a listing right now in Reseda. We had double-digit offers on it, and it ended up selling for about $80,000 over the list price. And we had over 100 groups of people come through the open house. And we're seeing that right now, that if the property is priced correctly, you're going to see a ton of traffic overall. So if you're a seller, this is still a great time to sell because you control the market because there's still very little inventory. So you don't have to worry so much about concessions like we did earlier the year and last year in 2022. If you're looking to buy a home, there's still some really great opportunities out there right now. But if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. You can always call me, 818-396-3311. That's 818-396-3311. Or send me a DM, and we look forward to hearing from you soon.